Hello and welcome to another edition of the Sports Heads, the Hurry Up. I'm joined here by my friends, Migos, pals, chums. I can't think of any other words for friends. Sam Morgan and Dan Falui, how are you guys?
Very well.
I'm doing well, mate. It's Friday. Obviously, lockdown isn't great, but we've got football coming up, so it's been a great week, and we've got the release of the NBA schedule apparently now. So yeah, mate, it's looking like a good weekend.
And once again, we are joined by the star, the amazing star. Because last time I got told off for underplaying. Yeah, my friend, the young, beautiful, amazing Hannah Wilkes. How are you?
Thank you for calling me young. I'm very well, thank you.
You guys look for last week's one where I got a roast in for insinuating something else, which wasn't true. As you can see, I'm rocking the winning team. You guys are recovered from last week when we all had the bags under our eyes with watching nothing but election viewing.
Isn't it still going?
Well, technically, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll stay away from that one. But we all know who won.
Yes,
that's the main thing, guys. There was a big shock yesterday with yesterday's game. Obviously we all didn't see that one come in. Dan, you got a view on that. How did you see last night's Thursday night football going?
Well, it was actually a good game. In terms of the battle for that division, it looks like the Colts have sort of taken the lead in that respect. I think the Titans are still a better team overall. But the Titans, Tannehill didn't really produce. It was sort of one touchdown throw, and most of it was Derrick Henry getting over 100 yards, but really didn't sort of get any touchdowns until the red zone. So, look, the Colts defense really was the star of that game. They blocked a punt defensively. They were all over the place. They really, while Derrick Henry got yards, they really cut him out of the end zone. So, for me, it was a great game. For me, I've always said it, and I'll say it again. The Colts are a quarterback and maybe a wide receiver away from actually doing something challenge for the Super Bowl, because defensively they're stacked, offensive line great, special teams great, coached really well. Mate, they just need to get rid of Philip Rivers, mate. That's my thing. Go for a Dak or maybe a Wentz or someone, or just make any decent QB quarterback play will get the Colts over the line.
Wentz. Yeah, what is it all about?
First of all, can we just acknowledge the fact that Wentz is playing with garbage receivers? He hasn't had these great bona fide weapons.
Wentz.
Oh. Wentz. Walk him to it. Wentz is actually a better quarterback than people realize, okay? He's keeping the Eagles alive. Mate, they've had Miles Sanders is out. The receivers are out. Zach Ertz is out for the season. He's got basically walk-on players. People don't understand. When you get walk-on players in NFL, there's a reason why they didn't get drafted. It's not even free agents. They just walked on practice squads. So for me, Wentz is doing bits. If we had a better O-line and some receivers, I think Wentz would take that Colts to the promised land. Because we need to forget, Wentz before his injury was on MVP course level. 11-2. He was leading the league in everything. So for me, Wentz just needs better protection and support.
Well, these guys are going to debate about the QB shenanigans, as they always do every week. But this one can't be denied. Obviously, last year's MVP, Lamar Jackson, runaway MVP, amazing prospect. But it looks like this year there's been questions asked because pretty much obviously now everyone's got a year's worth of game tape on him. It seems like now maybe it looks like he's been found out as such. He's getting sacked left, right, and centre. Still performing at a decent level, but not the bar that he's set. So I'll start with you, Hannah. Hannah, do you feel that Lamar Jackson has been found out by the league?
I don't know if it's found out. I mean, when you've been the MVP and broken individual and team records like Baltimore did last year, there is always going to be a drop-off, and it's always going to be harder, because I think this has been acknowledged by the Ravens that, and actually I think Coach Harbaugh actually said this, when people are preparing to play the Ravens, they are giving even more attention to Lamar Jackson than they would usually to a quarterback. People are going to be looking for ways to shut him down, because that is how you get any advantage against a Ravens team that is still a good team. I think it's interesting him kind of coming out and saying that, because he said it's the Rich Eisen show, didn't he? So, they're calling our players. They know what we're going to do. That is football, though. That happens across the board. And when you're a team like the Ravens, that on first down, they run the ball 64% of the time, it's a kind of, a good guess that they're going to run the ball. I think obviously it's frustrating, and you almost wonder what he's hoping to achieve by putting these comments out there. Is he criticising the play calling? Is he saying they need to shake it up a bit? But the fact of the matter is that they're still leading the league with average rushing yards per game. It's the passing game that has really dropped off, and you just wonder if these are the thoughts that are in Jackson's head. Is it kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like if you think the defense knows what you're going to do, you have to adjust. And I don't know if he's experienced enough quarterback, or if there's the trust in him to sort of be audibling and adjusting plays on the field as he reads those coverages and sees what the defense are doing. But of course we're going to spend more time preparing to play him, studying the Ravens playbook and what they do on tape, because last year they smashed records, and that's how you close them down. So I think it's something that he has to make adjustments as a player, whether he's giving a nudge to sort of Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, like, come on, let's shake up the playbook here. I don't know, but I think he's figured out a little bit, because that's what happens when you are one of these elite teams. It's happened, to use an example, with the Los Angeles Rams, 2018 offense tore up the league, didn't it? It was on fire. Last year, they really struggled because everyone watched the tape and everyone saw when they got beaten how teams were beating them and what they were doing. So that's the nature of the league. You have to sort of adapt and adjust, I think.
Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm spot on with what Hannah's saying. I think people obviously just gone, right, how do you not just contain the Ravens, but beat them? And that is what they're looking to do, is shut Lamar Jackson down, and then they're left with very little tools to obviously roll to. And actually, part of me, that's why they've probably gone and got Des Bryant out of retirement, because they're actually looking at it going, actually, here's something for us to actually maybe consider throwing the ball a little bit, because maybe it is a trust thing, or maybe it is. I think it's a little bit of arrogance starting to sit in Lamar Jackson, saying, do you know what, I'm going to win this for you. And then every time he goes to do it, he's going to get himself hurt. I watched a few plays last week, and he wasn't sliding. He was going almost chest first. It was very like footballer-esque when he was running with the ball. It's like one of us going in with the ball. I think we would have got snapped in half. Yeah, it was scary. He went in like this. I was like, what's he doing? But, and I think that's where he's got to it's not just Lamar Jackson. The organisation need to pull him into a room and say, hey, team game. Know when to do it. Know when to be the superstar. Know when to be the captain of this team. Because that ultimately, he's a QB. That's what he should be doing. And people are seeing or sniffing out that little bit of a weakness. And I think that's what makes an MVP along the way, and makes what we talk about Hall of Famers along the way, is people that can adjust and have that longevity through the league. Because a part of me thinks that Lamar Jackson, if he carries on in this trajectory, might not actually be a long-term QB, because as I say, his body's going to take a beating, and over the time, if he's not protected and actually sorted out mentally for the league, he could be in trouble. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But listen, not taking away, his stats are still actually pretty decent along the way. So let's not take that away from him. But I think just from a long-term point of view, it'd be something for us to keep an eye on.
Dan, get in there.
Look, picking up on what Hannah and Sam said, I agree. Look, the Baltimore Ravens last year were averaging, 205, 206 rushing yards a game. They're still leading the league in rushing yards, but it's about 160, 170. So in terms of that big, explosive rushing yard plays, maybe 50 yards a game on one play, they're not getting that this time around. And I think, for me, like Sam said, I think Lamar is trying to be too much of a Madden. I think he's, bought into a little bit of a hype of the MVP, of his own MVP campaign, in which he was like, look, he had the spectacular plays, the spinning around, getting into the end zone. But Lamar needs to understand he's a quarterback, not a running back. He doesn't need to do all of those kind of things. He doesn't need to be Madden 2021. But also, I think as well, Lamar's progression from, usually you see that, you've got the QBs, even when you look at the Josh Allens, and I'm pretty sure Justin Herbert is going to do the same, of making that transition from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 in terms of passing. And Lamar hasn't actually made that transition. He's still relying on his runs. He's still relying on his legs. He's still relying on sort of the rushing offense. Lamar can't throw outside the numbers. So you get defenses now who're just going to stack the box. It's like, look, we know you can't throw outside the numbers. We're not going to worry about the receivers on the edge. We're just going to worry about the sort of the middle. We're going to worry about trying to block out Andrews. We're going to worry about what you can do in terms of the slant passes. So he doesn't really, they don't really look at Brown, who is a threat, and be like, he's going to pass him. So they just leave him. They leave him on their own with one receiver and block through the middle. So teams are geared to that. Lamar needs to make that transition from learning how to stop running with his legs. I'm not saying don't do it, but look at Russell Wilson, look at Patrick Mahomes. Use your legs to get out of trouble, not as the first point of call. You start to use it, because we'll see with Cam. Cam never really made that transition into a great passer, and it's affected his career. So the same thing with Lamar. I believe in him. You know, Dre, I wasn't necessarily a bigger fan of him at the beginning. He's won me around, but he needs to make the transition from learning to pass and be a better thrower of the ball. Otherwise, that Ravens team is never going. No team has won off the back of the legs from a quarterback.
Yeah, I do think that he definitely needs to learn to the lessons from Cam Newton, where you're not if you're going to start running like a tailback or a running back, then they're going to treat you like a running back, and then we don't want anything happen to him, obviously, because obviously he's one of the people that we tune in to watch every week, and we don't want to have a backup. I don't even know who is their backup there. But I think we've seen enough of backups this season. Definitely, some have worked, some haven't. Anyway, but speaking of backups that aren't working too well at the moment, obviously you've got Dak Prescott's situation where Jerry Jones has yet again turned the world on its head, and basically just quoting, it's crazy to think that the Cowboys will pick a QB in the draft. Dak is, and quote, our quarterback, which is quite confusing to me, because he's not actually treating him that way. But obviously, those who've been watching for a long time know that I don't trust in any form of way Jerry Jones. I know that Hannah has to be nice about it, what she's saying. So I'm going to go to Sam first of all. Sam,
I just choose to remain somewhat neutral on some subject.
We know what's going on here. But
sorry, by the way, if you just heard a meow, my cat just came in and looked at me and was like, meow.
I thought that was just you, Hannah, but all right. Yeah.
I just thought I'd say that wasn't like a stomach grumble. That was my.
I was like, I did catch that one. I was just like, what is going on over there? But I kept on moving. Sam, what do you think?
I actually think he's now got a taste of what it would look like without Dak, and he's gone, this could be a problem. So I actually think it's almost been a bit of a blessing in a sense. Do you know what though? Dak should look at it and go, do you know what? Screw you. Really, kind of look at it and go, here you go. Now, here's my numbers. When it comes to numbers, he's got to remember that. I think he's got to remember that going forward, what it's like to be without him. But as we know, Jerry is Jerry. So one week it'll be this, and then when Dak comes back, he won't be Dak's friend again. It's going to happen. It's a proper love-hate relationship between these two a little bit, and it's a soap opera down there. It's actually becoming a bit to a point where how many seasons has it got before you tune off and find another series to watch, right? Because it's getting a bit tedious. But I honestly do believe it's the fact that, as I say, he's had a flavour of what it's going to be like without Dak if he did go down that route. But stranger things have happened that you might still see Dak there next year, and they still bring in a QB. We saw what happened at Green Bay. Obviously, we've seen how that's turned out. But we could still see something like that happen again, and you find Dak just sitting there tying his shoelaces. So we don't know. And I hope that doesn't happen, because Dak's, as we've just mentioned there, is not in the same category as Carson Wentz, by the way. If the Colts did want someone, that was a better shout, Dan, was Dak. But yeah, so I think he'd have options. I think now he can probably play it in his court for the rest of the season.
Dan, get in there.
Can we just highlight the fact that the current projection for the draft, the top 5 picks, 3 of them are from the NFC least. Can we just highlight that? We got the Giants, Washington, and Cowboys taking the top 5 spots outside of what the Jets, who no one wants to talk about, and the Jags, which again no one really wants to talk about. So I just want to highlight that, because that's shocking that 3 teams from the same division are occupying the top spots for the draft. Look, mate, I think Jerry can talk all he wants. The Jets are going for a quarterback. They're probably going to go for Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what the Jags are going to do. would you maybe look to maybe, trade down potentially? But with the Cowboys, if Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence lands on the lap, would Jerry say yes? I think so. It just mathematically makes more sense. You got a rookie QB 4 or 5 years, and he's going to cost what Dak's going to cost in 1 year. So from that point of view, yes. Do I think they need to get a QB? No, I think they lack defensive prowess right now all over the pitch, and they need to sort of rebuild the offensive line. But look, Jerry Jones he's Mr. Hollywood. He's going to go for the big splashes, the big plays. He went for CeeDee Lamb, which is a great acquisition, but probably didn't really address their needs. So for me, I can see Jerry going for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields if it drops on their lap. That being said, do I see the Cowboys still retaining the 3rd pick in the overall draft? No. But then the NFC leads. Boy, can we just highlight the fact there's only 2 or 3 wins is leading that division? That's shocking. Absolutely shocking.
It genuinely pains me that one of those teams is guaranteed a playoff spot when there is some really great teams in tighter divisions in the NFC that are going to miss out. But that's something for, I think we're going to talk about in a bit. I totally agree with you guys. I think Jerry Jones, like Sam said, has had a big, this is life without Dak Prescott. Things are okay under Andy Dalton. Things were going fine as well as you could expect. But when you have the DiNucci show, Gilbert did all right, but get found out quite quickly. I think it's a bit of a reality check as to the sort of game on DiNucci. Also, without naming names, someone from NFL Network said to me recently they watched I think it was the Cowboys-Eagles game with DiNucci starting, and they said they haven't seen football that bad since like the NFL Europe division back in the 90s. It was a bit not to NFL Europe, but still. But yeah, they're like, it was that bad. So yeah, I think that's what Jerry Jones has saw, like everyone else, and gone, you know what, we've got Dak. Dak's great, we love Dak, which he did say when Dak went out injured to start with, that he was their quarterback. We took it with a pinch of salt. He's repeated it. So I think what he's likely to do, though, I almost feel like they'll just franchise tag him again and almost do a redo this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're franchise tagged, it didn't play out, so let's just do that again, and then we'll get you the big contract.
Which I think is actually ridiculous, because it's going to end up costing him way more money than just giving him a longer term deal. Obviously, I think it's fair to say that obviously you want to make sure that can come back from this injury that he's had, and hopefully, God willing, he will. He seems like, it's the first injury that he's had that I know of. So fingers crossed he comes back stronger than ever, and joins the 49ers. My prediction, and when they get rid of Jimmy G. We can look back for a few weeks ago when Hannah just literally cast aside the 49ers. I don't think she'll be doing that anymore.
And last week I called the Colts the biggest disappointment in the league. So, ultimately, I don't know why I
bother. We just literally wait for your hot takes and literally just put it out there and just ready. We have them all lined up, ready to go.
But with the reason that I spent a really long time basically never having an opinion on anything, and this is why, because it always comes back to get you.
We love it. You swing big, miss big, but then when you get it right, you get it right. So don't worry. We're looking at, obviously the league now is starting to form, with the rightful people in places. Let's not talk about the NFC least, because I know you're going to find a way to be able to bring in my Giants in some form of way. We can make the playoffs and then win the whole thing.
Problem we've got, Dre, is all three of us support NFC West teams that definitely have a much more kind of righteous stake on a playoff spot. So I think us three feel particularly passionate about it.
I don't speak for yourself. I know this. I know Seattle definitely making the playoffs. So
yeah, that's fine. But for me and Sam, there's a lot riding on
it. Well, obviously, we all know that the teams that are expected to make the playoffs. But with the teams that aren't in the current favourite slots, they feel that they would be safe to be able to make those playoffs. Who do you think actually will make the playoffs from people that are outside of those, safe slots to be able to make it into the next round? So I'll start off with you, Hannah.
So this is a tricky one, actually. And I think it really depends. There's a huge difference between the AFC and the NFC. I think the AFC is pretty much set. And let's not forget that if COVID has more of an effect on the league, we could be looking at 8 teams per conference for a playoff spot, which obviously opens things up massively. But I look at the AFC and I feel like it's pretty set because you've got Pittsburgh, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Colts, Titans, and Raiders as it stands. I reckon the Browns could kind of get lucky if it is expanded to 8. And then the only other team actually that I think, with how they've played the last couple of weeks and how they're bubbling, I think the Dolphins. I was getting there. I feel like the Dolphins could maybe in either way, whether it's 7 or 8. They're the only team that I really think is outside the spots at the moment for the AFC and might make it. The NFC, I mean, who knows? Obviously, Saints, Seahawks, Packers, top 3, that feels set on. Bucks are currently 4th, but I don't understand the Bucks because literally a week ago everyone was like, Bucks are the most complete team in the league, and then what on earth happened to them against New Orleans?
You said that.
Yeah.
You said, and I quote, "I'm shocked that it's even a question." That's what you said.
Is that another one?
I was not alone. I was not alone. It was actually after overtime this week. I had a few tweets tagging sort of me, Kay Adams, a few others, being like, "Didn't you all write off the Bucks?" And I was like, "Well, Kay didn't because she's a Saints fan, but most people back the Bucks on that one." But anyway, when you look at NFC, I think it's so hard to call. Obviously, the Eagles are currently outside the playoff spots, but by virtue of how it works, will get there just by winning their division. But if you look at the sort of rankings, they're well outside. But I think they'll get there. I mean, the 49ers, if they have a miracle turning around injuries, you never know, but it looks unlikely for them. I think the Bears could definitely sneak in there. The Vikings are currently outside the spots, and I don't understand the Minnesota Vikings this year. I really don't. So they are one that I think could maybe surprise. But really, it's just the NFC East throws such a curveball when it comes to NFC spots for the playoffs that I think at the moment the top 6 are kind of set. It's just what order they finish in and what seeding they finish in.
So, Sam, I know you've got a vested interest in this. What are you thinking?
I actually think the Browns will sneak in. I think with Nick Chubb returning, and I you know what? There's 2 parts to this. One, I think, and the other part is I want them to, just for you, just for you, and so all the Browns fans can again fill your inbox with disgust and.
Ain't gonna happen. So don't just be happy with what you got. It ain't gonna happen. But go on.
No, I think, obviously we are looking at. I mean, I actually want to flip this a little bit and actually be. Is this going to be the first time in a very, very long time that we don't see the Patriots in the playoffs?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, very likely to happen. So thank God for that, because actually it means something different is going to happen this year. And yeah, with the Bucks playing the way they are, yeah, it might be a bit of a message to the Patriots. Obviously, with Brady and obviously Gronk being there. On the flip side, I don't see the Vikings sneaking in. I don't see San Fran. I'm unsure of the Bears, what their schedule's like.
I don't understand the Bears. I've been struggling. I really feel, and I often feel this about the Bears, no disrespect to Chicago, they've got no offense. I think their 5-4 record is really misleading and was partly due to the schedule, the first few games of the season. I think it gets harder for them from here, but I have to check.
But again, this is where I wonder if the league end up sort of revisiting this, because although they're still in a winning record in comparison to others that could still obviously make the playoffs, which is pretty scary. But for me, I think the only team that really, for me, will sneak in is the Browns as it stands. Without going into people's schedules, I actually think that it will be the Browns. I think they will just sneak in.
Dan, what say you, sir?
First of all, Hannah said she doesn't understand what's going on with the Vikings. I can give you that answer. Kurt, can you see me now? Cousins is what's wrong with the Vikings right now, because they've got a bona fide running back in Dalvin Cook. And mate, Kirk Cousins is only throwing 14 passes a game. That's unheard of. That's disgusting. That's absolutely vile. That's cancerous. You need to get him out.
Dan,
Vikings.
Did the Vikings need Carson Wentz?
No.
No.
And I'll explain why. First of all, because I think with Carson Wentz, he needs a good offensive line. He needs protection. But then again, actually, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. Dalvin Cook is a bona fide running back. So he could work in the Vikings. He could work in Minnesota. I'm not going to lie. And they've got a dome system. Carson Wentz has got a big arm.
That offensive line's doing enough for Dalvin Cook, though.
Yeah, but Dalvin Cook's also he's transcendent running back. I'm not going to lie. So he makes that offensive line sometimes look better than they are. That being said, Kirk Cousins is awful. Going back to Hannah's point of why the Vikings are the Vikings and what's going on with them. It's just him alone. He's a cancer.
On the day, like that's what I mean. There are so many results like that this year.
I know he did not beat the Packers. Dalvin Cook beat the Packers. What he did was he just didn't do anything. He was a side passenger. He was a side man. Anyways, going to the AFC, show my man Brian Flores some love. The Dolphins are probably going to sneak it in. Look, it's supposed to be a rebuild, and Brian Flores in the last 17 games is 10-7. Can we show this man some love? He is definitely up there in terms of coach of the year. You've got to give Mike Tomlin if the Steelers finish 16-0 or close to it.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is probably one of the best exports out of the Patriots system right now, and he's doing bits. So they're my shout out for the AFC. NFC, I'm going to actually surprise you all. And I'm going to say a team that actually look really good, but their record doesn't show how good they look. And I think they're building into it, especially when they're getting their star man back. And that's Carolina Panthers. Look, I know the division is going to be hard. I know it's probably going to be a situation of they've probably got to have to get second place. But right now, their record doesn't justify their performances. They've been in tight ball games. They should have won some of the ball games. And I reckon now that they've got C-Mac back in the mix, a fully healthy C-Mac, Teddy Bridgewater's looking better.
Injured again.
Yeah, I know. I said if they can get him in, if they can get a healthy C-Mac. Look, Carolina aren't a bad shout. And look, I don't want to go for the typical looking at the other teams. I'm saying I did say it, prefaced it, they're going to be a different shout. Chicago, I do love Chicago. Love the city of Chicago. My gosh, you traded up for Trubisky over Watson and Mahomes. I will never let Chicago fans forget that. But that's my take.
I kind of agree with you with Carolina. I think they've got too much work to do with a 3-6 record. I just think it's a bit too far, and it's such a shame because they are playing really enjoyable football. Like they are fun to watch. With Christian McCaffrey back week 9 before he's injured again with a shoulder injury for at least the next couple of weeks. It's such a shame because Teddy Bridgewater is definitely in his groove. They're playing really entertaining, good defense, and Matt Rule's obviously building something there that I think they've been really unlucky with injuries this season, but come next year and onwards from there, I think they'll definitely be in the mix. I hope this time next year we'll be talking about them very much as in the playoff mix.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Rule because Matt Rule, he surprised me with that pick. I didn't expect it. I didn't see that at Baylor College. So for him to come out and do what he's doing now, hands out to him.
Yeah, it's a pity we all don't have that foresight to be able to see how good a coach he is, because instead of going for him, we went for Joe Judge instead.
Mate, no, Dre, in honesty, Joe Judge actually is getting the Giants. He's getting the Giants to play hard. Joe Judge actually looks like a good coach, mate. The Giants are playing hard. Outside of talent, they're still playing hard. And if Danny Dimes doesn't do the turnovers, the Giants are a better team than that. They're a turnover away from actually being competitive and having a winning record. I reckon
we've only beat the Washington football team. That's the only team.
Have faith. Mate, you got to look at the teams, because look at when Brian Flores first came into Miami. They weren't doing well, but you could see the team playing for him. The Giants are playing for Joe Judge. It's just Danny Dimes is a turnover machine. I'm telling you right now, if he can turn away those turnovers, the Giants have a better shout in that division.
Well, I know what's going to happen.
Pretty competitive division, by the way.
I know what's going to happen if he keeps on turning it over. Calling Trevor Lawrence. That's what will happen pretty soon. So I'll see that. But yeah, no, definitely, I'm really impressed with the Panthers. That's actually a good outside shout, and I really, really, really love what they're doing there. They're bringing in a lot of new talent, and also I get to know the name of their mascot, Sir Purr, which is ridiculous.
I love Sir Purr. I have met Sir Purr a couple of times. He's a very nice panther.
Get another cat so you can call him Sir Purr, please.
Oh my God, I should.
See? You heard it here first.
I hear that she'll be really upset, and she's already in a mood today.
So let's get to the games of the weekend, the ones that you guys are really looking forward to picking out. I will start with Sam. Sam, what game is sticking out to you the most over this weekend?
I'm actually looking for. I've got to stop these homer picks, but obviously I'm looking forward to the Bills and the Cardinals. No, I'm looking forward to it because I think this is actually now our chance to sort of bounce back. And if we don't, then we kind of show that we maybe aren't quite ready yet. Okay. But it'll be a chance for obviously us and the defense to see if we can shut down Josh Allen, who's for me has had one of the better seasons as a QB this year. So looking forward to that. Definitely not the Giants and Eagles game, because that is another snore fest to happen.
Well, no,
you know
actually, to be honest with you, I'll stop you there, because that could actually be a big game. Because you underestimate the rivalry, because we just need to beat them to stop them making it into the playoffs. So there's a lot of hate there, but I digress.
No.
Just trying to make things interesting in Giants land.
Absolutely not. No, thank you. Browns Texans actually is something that I'd like to watch. That's actually a game I'd like to watch. I think that might be a little bit more interesting for me than the Eagles and the Giants. What are both QBs going to do? Just throw it out to the non-existent crowd for the 4 quarters? Because that's what's going to happen in the Eagles Giants game. Pointless. Absolutely pointless.
Well, that can't be helped. We want to make sure that people are safe. And not catching things, If
you're really into that game, I've got the list up of games this week, and the website I've used has helpfully got a tickets column, and you can get tickets for the Houston Browns game for as low as $40.
Oh. Do you have to take out insurance for the ball hitting you, or what?
I think you definitely will.
I mean, bearing in mind, tickets for Buffalo, Arizona are going for almost $400. I think that tells you a lot.
Damn. Hey, I'll take that right now, man. I want to see a live game.
Dan, what you got?
I'm actually going to go. I know what the pick Hannah's going to go for, and obviously being who we support, no worries about that. I think for me, the pick of the game for this weekend is probably going to be the Dolphins versus the Chargers, and I think you're looking at the 2 battles for the rookie QBs in terms of Tua, who last week looked really good, looked posed. Doesn't have a deep ball threat in my opinion, but he is very accurate. He's got a nice throw to him. And you've got Justin Herbert, who has been impressive. Now, I worry about the Chargers. I worry about Anthony Lynn. I do like him, but he needs to turn those last-minute leads into wins. You can't be doing 4 games straight with sort of a 16-point lead and come back. The teams come back. It's basically Atlanta Falcon-esque, and I'm a bit worried. Now, that being said, I think he's going to get another season because he's got Justin Herbert, but that game's going to be interesting. I think, there's weapons on both sides. Defensively, the Dolphins are legit. Number 1 scoring defense, they're legit. So we're going to see it. And Brian Florence, like I said, I like him. He's my shout-out for Coach of the Year. So we'll see.
I think I use this section here now Sam knows what's coming. For me to be able to say, I told you so when it came to Tua. I told you that you've got a potentially elite quarterback, and all of you rushed him off like, nah. It's easy game.
It's the injury.
I know who in particular.
He's got to stay fit.
I don't believe people brushed him off. I think after his first start, it was very clear that win over the Rams was a defensive and special teams win. It didn't have much to do with him. But with how they played last week against the Cardinals, you can really see what he's about. So I think they're looking good.
For the first time, I don't think I've ever been able to say this in the entire time I've been watching NFL. Miami, you have yourself a quarterback at long last. Hannah, what game are you looking at?
So I don't want to be a total homer. Obviously, I will be watching the Seahawks-Rams game very closely. Oh, look, you've got that. That's what it's all about. Wilson against Donald.
Who will finish top? Who? Oh, God, I want to see my clothes here.
So I will be watching that one really closely. It has such huge playoff implications. The NFC West between those 2 teams plus the Cardinals is still so tight, and it's still everything to play for. But also as well, I think I'm going to be keeping a bit of an eye on the Tampa Bay Carolina game. We were just talking about how much we're all enjoying watching Carolina play, even without CMC. There's a lot to watch there and to see what they can do. And interested to see how Tampa Bay bounce back and what Tom Brady does after the heaviest essentially defeat of his career last week against the Saints. So that's one I will be keeping an eye on too. But yeah, I think in a way I won't enjoy the Seahawks-Rams game no matter what. So I'll be quite looking for some distractions.
What a game. That's going to be an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to that one. Lots and lots of fancy points in that one. Definitely looking forward to those who are with a winning record in their division and their fancy league. I think I'm the only one who's talking here.
I have a winning record.
Had.
Yeah.
Hannah, tell us what games are coming up on Sky at the weekend.
So actually, I've just just mentioned this one and didn't realise just how on brand I was, because the Buccaneers Panthers is the early game on Sunday.
I thought you was wearing the shield there. I thought you was wearing the corporate shield. I was like,
me on brand while wearing red. That's a 6 o'clock game. The 9 o'clock game is the Bills Cardinals, which I think is going to be a really great one after the way the Bills played last week. And it's great to see these like young next generation quarterbacks just go toe to toe. We saw it with Tua and Murray last week. Now it's Murray against Allen after Allen dominated the Seahawks last week. So that one's going to be great. Then Sunday Night Football is the Ravens Patriots, and Monday Night Football is the Vikings against the Bears.
I just want to start a little trouble here. Who are you guys taking out of Tua and my brain is dead now. Chargers QB.
Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. Who would you take? If you had to draft one of them now.
Oh, if you draft one of them.
If you was drafting right now, from what you've seen enough of Tua. Including.
Mate, it's 2 games.
I'll go Herbert.
So I know elite.
I'd go Herbert. I really like Justin Herbert. Yeah. I think he's got a great arm and he's got legs, and the size of him as well. He's making a very bad offensive line look decent, because just with 2 steps away,
he's reading the game a lot well. He reads the game very well as well. So yeah.
And that's only going to get better, because that was something I think his sort of footballing intelligence and reading of the game was something that was on his scouting report as like not quite there. And you think a few games in, that's already looking much improved. So yeah, I think I'd go Herbert.
I take it. Dan, you're coming along with me.
Mate, I don't know. You can see me. You can see the angst in my face, because Tua is a very accurate quarterback. At Alabama, he had weapons, though. He had first-round weapons and great offensive line. Herbert at Oregon, no one really knew what he was going to do, and he's looked impressive. Mate, I just don't know if Tua's going to stay fit. That's the problem. You've had almost career-ending surgery, and yes, you don't know. He's still got another year to he's rehabbing. He's got another year to be proper fit. So I'm not, mate.
It made sense for that organisation, because the Dolphins were prepared to take the risk because they could get away with taking a risk. Whereas the Chargers were in a place where they moved on from Rivers, and it was probably hard to take that much of a risk. The Herbert move has actually worked out quite well, considering the offense has to spend most of the time on the field anyway, because the defense hasn't been that strong. I think they've done all right. And as Hannah said, I think once they actually get a few key pieces back in the defense and offense, I think Herbert will probably look the better QB.
I was about to say, if you asked me who's going to win that game on Sunday, I'd take the Dolphins, but I've just had a very quick scroll through Twitter, and they've had to put 2 defensive players and Matt Cole, wide receiver, on the COVID list, which I reckon changes things possibly in the Chargers' favour.
That's playing havoc.
People, can they just stay indoors and not go anywhere except for on the field?
Don't go anywhere. Yeah, go to
stay. Have no life. Stay there. Just one word answer, guys. Just quickly before we wrap. Sam, start off. Who you got? These 2 bad boys.
Seahawks.
You're going for the Seahawks. I'm not going to ask these 2. Hannah, who do you actually think is going to win?
I flip-flop. In Pick'em this week, I went Seahawks because I can't see them losing 2 on the bounce. And you just never know which Rams team turn up. But if the Rams defense do a job and the right Jared Goff turns up, you know that the Seahawks defense can't stop an offense. So I don't know. Ask me next week.
What?
That quickly. Quick.
He's obviously going Seahawks.
I don't know, because 3 points.
It's fair.
Seattle on the road are terrible. Seattle's defense historically bad. Thirdly, they've made every quarterback that they played look like Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, and Elway all wrapped in one. Dre, why are you asking me this question, mate? My friends, why are you doing this to me? Why are you?
Dan, you just made me feel more confident about the Rams, actually.
Yeah. I reckon at home, I reckon, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a Seattle fan, but I reckon the Rams.
I hope they're not for each other's teams. Nice.
Weird.
I know. I'm going to be looking forward to this one with my popcorn, because I have nothing invested in it, because my team sucks. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of The Sports Heads. Obviously, check out all of our content on Alt Sport and vergemagazine.co.uk. Hannah, I'm going to be coaching her to be able to come and join us again if she's free, whenever she's free, to be able to come again, because she's family. We love her. thank you so much for making the time to be able to come on each week. I really do appreciate that.
I love chatting football with you guys.
Gentlemen, I will be texting you guys when I count up my fancy points over the weekend. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.